Welcome to Stories That Matter. Today we talk about the short story Genesis and Catastrophe by Roald Dahl. It begins as a simple story about a mother and her weak newborn baby, but it ends with a shocking truth. This birth will change history in a terrible way. The story takes place in a small hospital in Austria. A woman named Clara has just given birth to a baby boy. She is very worried because 3 of her other children died when they were young. She believes this baby will also die. The doctor and the midwife try to comfort her. They say the baby is healthy, breathing well, and eating well. But Clara still cries and repeats that her other children also looked healthy. Her husband, Alois, is cold and impatient. He does not show love or care. Clara holds the tiny baby and begs him to live. At the end of the story, we learn the truth. The baby's name is Adolf Hitler. Roald Dahl uses special writing techniques to make the story strong and emotional. Here are 3 important literary devices. Foreshadowing is when the writer gives hints about what will happen later. It helps create suspense. For example, the doctor looks out the window and sees a wet gray April afternoon, red roofs of houses, huge raindrops splashing on the tiles. These details are not random. Gray suggests sadness. Red can symbolize blood or death. The huge raindrops can remind us of a flood, a symbol of destruction. The title also foreshadows the ending. Genesis and Catastrophe. Genesis means beginning. Catastrophe means disaster. So the title already tells us the beginning of a disaster. Irony is when reality is different from what we expect. This story has situational irony and dramatic irony. Situational irony. Clara and her husband think the baby will die, but he grows up to kill 11 million people. Something happens that is the opposite of what we expect. Dramatic irony. The readers know the baby will live, but the characters are still worried he won't. The reader knows more than the characters. These kinds of irony make the story surprising and emotional. A plot twist is a surprising change in the story. In this story, the writer makes us feel sorry for the mother and the baby. We want the baby to live. But then comes the twist. The baby is Adolf Hitler. May his name be erased. This changes everything we thought before. This story also makes us think about a difficult idea. Sometimes people must use cruelty or force against evil in order to protect the innocent. At first, we feel sorry for the baby. We want him to survive. But when we learn who he is, everything changes. His survival leads to war, suffering, and genocide. This makes us think about real life. To stop Hitler and the Nazis, the world had to fight. This fight was violent and cruel, but it was necessary to stop a much greater evil. The story reminds us that doing good is not always simple. Sometimes, to protect millions of innocent people, strong action is needed against evil. Because this baby, Adolf Hitler, survived, he grew up to become the leader of Nazi Germany. His actions led to World War II, the Holocaust, tens of millions of deaths, enormous destruction and suffering. So the meaning of the title becomes clear. The genesis of this child leads to one of the greatest catastrophes in history. Genesis and Catastrophe is a short story that makes us think about life, history, and our choices. Thank you for listening to Stories That Matter. Join us next time as we explore another meaningful story.